Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be highlighting a specific aspect of Battlefield 6 map design that I believe is the root cause for a ton of problems with the game's gameplay. The main issue I'm going to be focusing on in today's video is the readability of Battlefield 6's map design, and I'm going to be comparing and contrasting urban maps in Battlefield 6, like Empire State, to previous urban maps like Devastation from Battlefield 5 to see what some key differences are in layout and design. It's no secret that a lot of people have very mixed feelings about Battlefield 6's map design right now, and the aspect that I'm going to be going over in today's video isn't the only issue, but it is certainly one of the biggest issues, and it does explain a lot of players' frustrations, in my opinion, and I even think what I point out today is easily fixed on a lot of these maps in Battlefield 6. This should be a pretty long video. I'm going to leave timestamps in the description for anyone interested in any specific section. And if you do enjoy the video, please spread it around, hit the like button, and of course, sub to the channel. If you want to keep up to date with Battlefield 6, this is the channel for you. I also stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders. First link in the description. First, I'm going to jump in game and show you guys some problem areas up close in both Battlefield 6 and in Battlefield 5, just for comparison and contrast sake. Then we're going to be going over overhead views to show readability and different pathing that is available on these maps and how that contributes to a map's readability. And I might even compare and contrast existing Battlefield 6 maps with Cairo, which actually goes against a lot of these trends that I'm going to show you right now. So let's jump in game and let's discuss some problem areas. All right, we are on Empire State, and this map is one of the biggest specific problem maps for this readability concern in Battlefield 6. What do I mean by readability? Well, basically, the pathing of the map, how readable is it to an average player about where people can actually go and be on the map? It's very difficult to be aware of where players can actually go and be in Battlefield 6 maps because all of these urban areas like this, and it extends past urban areas, have a bunch of super interconnected, complex building structures that have multiple separate areas of verticality. So just as a base example, we'll just take this building block here. You can go in this building, it connects to this separate building, and this separate building has a second story access point, and then moving past here, there is just this random storefront which people can hide in. And of course, this has another staircase, which leads you up to another area of second story height. And moving on through here, this area over here, this big white building that I put in the thumbnail, is one of the biggest offenders for this massive building accessibility thing. So you can go in every single floor of this building. You can shoot people from every single window, and it wraps all the way around from this front area to this side alley area, all the way around back in both buildings. Actually, you can get in this second story of this building as well as the first floor of both of these buildings. And there are extra rooms in both of these buildings. And basically what this means is Battlefield 6 maps, especially in these urban maps, are just simply way too complicated and offer players way too many separate paths to choose from and go to. You can be in this area up here. You can be in so many little random storefronts that it's basically impossible to be as aware as you need to be, and this is not how previous Battlefield maps that handled urban environments actually work. I will show you this in Devastation later in the video, but just to sort of, I guess, foreshadow to what I'm going to be showing you later, if this was done in a previous Battlefield game, like say they were designing Sane Crossing or Devastation from Battlefield 5, and they wanted to have some level of building access, what they would do is they would deliberately design maybe one inside area you could go in for this building, and then the rest of it would be decorative. So you can maybe enter this, but the rest of this area, all of this would just be decorative. You could not go in these storefronts, you cannot access these staircases, and you would have to basically go around the building, which of course reduces the number of paths players can take, which increases readability. Let's jump over to another Battlefield 6 map to show you some other problem areas now. Taking a look at here on Manhattan Bridge now, the same problem occurs. Obviously, they decided to try to make these urban maps feel more authentic and real, so they allowed people to go in more places, right? But again, the same problem here is you can just go in so many of these buildings and they interconnect so intricately, which allows you to essentially cut through the building rather than having to go around it. And of course, this makes players very confused, and people can be very difficult to track. But again, look at the complexity of some of these areas. This staircase going up here, double-sided verticality access here on top of a balcony, and you can probably do some weird ladder shit to get up here as well. And then just look at this tiny little area on this map. Anywhere you go, you'll see this. Another weird accessible room, another full first-story access with multiple separate rooms, tons of different windows. I wouldn't be surprised if people are actually confused as to what buildings you can go in and what buildings you can't, because there are just so many buildings you can go in, period. But running a little bit over here now, I just want to show you guys a good example of what maybe previous Battlefield game map design would do. So let's take this, for example. In previous Battlefield maps, basically, like, this whole building block wouldn't be accessible, and then there would be like one corner area here that allows you to cut through. But again, like I mentioned previously, it just reduces the amount of paths and makes the maps more readable. I'll be going over the overhead view of Empire State, but let's be going on to Devastation from BF5 to show you guys just the differences in urban map design. Alright, now, on Devastation, there are going to be some key differences. So, like I mentioned previously, look at all of these inaccessible structures here. If this was designed in Battlefield 6, they would 100% allow you to basically access like one of these second story areas, and there would be an area where you could go in the first story and then cut through this entire building block. But you can see in this game, this whole block of buildings only has this area over here, and I'll show you an area over there that allows you to basically go around it and path throughout the map. So you can go this path and cut through this little inner area here, down and around, or you can go around and maybe cut to the flag over here, or go all the way around the building. And then taking a look over here, the exact same thing is present. Basically, this pathing is just so much more deliberate. Again, you can't access this. No second story, no third story access, none of that. You can go around here, and then this is an example of a deliberately placed first story access point, right? So all of those over there on this side, no first story access. Only deliberately placed on this corner is the ability to enter this very small and very obvious, right? That's another important thing. Very obviously placed first story access point that you can jump down and then maybe go across here. And again, cannot access any of these buildings. Can't jump in any windows except for maybe this one. But even then, I mean, maybe this is only good for a spawn beacon. Now, another really good example of deliberate pathing on these urban maps is over here yet again. An example of, I think, providing just a well-placed alternate route. And it's right here with this. So this center area, you can either just run up it and like take the fights here, or they offer you an alternate path that is very deliberately placed and very obviously placed, where you can go up to maybe a little safer area and then peek the guys that might be standing here. It's so much more well done, right? It's not spammy. It isn't random feeling. It's super well placed. And the same cannot be said for a lot of the building designs in Battlefield 6. And if we continue throughout this area, again, this is another example of an area with very deliberately designed building access, right? You can go in here, but it's only this little corner. Again, if it was Battlefield 6, you might be able to cut through this building all the way through and get around this massive block of buildings just by basically running straight through it. You cannot do that in this game. And that is huge for the map flow because, well, it just enables more clear pathing that players can understand during the gameplay. Just to better visualize the sheer amount of routes you can take in Battlefield 6 as opposed to previous Battlefield games maps, this is an overhead view of Empire State. This is the first sector on Breakthrough here, but look at all of these paths here. I mean, you have the fire station. There are 2 doors you can cut through. Then, of course, you have the back way connecting to this road. You have this path leading into this little center area. You have the connecting buildings that has... you can run all the way through it, or on this building you can go up to verticality, and on this building as well. This building has a second story, which is what this little U-shaped line is, showing the second story access. I forgot to put a line here. You can get on this second floor here. All of these circles are separate accessible rooms you can go in on this building. This building's the building with a shit ton of windows and doors. I just wrote 100% access on there very poorly in MS Paint. These are the main building blocks here. You can run all the way through here. You can get to the second story access. There's a little room here. You can run all the way through. This building interconnects to the first little bar area here. This has second story access via staircase, and you can run all the way through it. I think you get the point. And when I show you Devastation, it'll become super obvious just how much more complicated this is. Unfortunately, this is the best screenshot I can get of Devastation, but as you can see, this is the area I went over in the video. There's this big long road, and then this whole building block area does not allow you to just go right through it. You have to go around it, and there's this shorter path here, and then there's an alternate wider path, and this connects to yet another like alternate road here. There's this corner building access here. Then this is just a bridge connecting that path to this area over here. This is the staircase I showed in the video connecting up this little rampway. And then this is the other corner building access along this long road with another separate area connecting to this ramp area over here. I know it's a little bit confusing, and this is like a bad overhead view, but just compare it to the Empire State overhead screenshot, and you can clearly see the vast amount of paths that are simply not present on maps like Devastation and many previous Battlefield maps. So we've gone over 2 urban maps in Battlefield 6 and compared it to Devastation from Battlefield 5, which I would consider to be one of the best urban Battlefield maps ever. But if urban maps are the problem in Battlefield 6, why is Cairo so good? And the answer is simple. Cairo is just more simplistic in design. It still allows you to enter buildings in a more complicated manner than previous Battlefield games, but it's more deliberately placed and just better designed, right? Like, even in this complex center area where you have building access on either side, you can tell which buildings can be accessed, and there are just less of them, right? Like, okay, you're in these buildings over here, you know that people are probably going to be in the buildings across from you, and in these bottom areas here. And on these corner portions, it's a little more complex than previous Battlefield games because it allows you to go up to the second floor, but again, this brick of buildings here, I believe the corner is the only place where you can actually gain access to the building from. Yes, it is. So, basically, this takes design cues from previous Battlefield urban maps a little better than Empire State and some of the other urban maps in Battlefield 6. And the result of this on Cairo is the flow is simply better and more predictable, and the readability is better. Also, massive shout out to Nevocon. He provided all the portal codes for these empty experiences, so shout out Nevocon. I'll link him in the description. So, to wrap this video up, I believe Battlefield 6's maps have a building design / building access problem that contributes to poor readability and shitty pathing across maps. And I think they should absolutely fix this because it would drastically improve the gameplay of Battlefield 6 just by reducing the complexity of some of these areas. Again, I understand maybe they're shooting for a more authentic feeling urban map experience where you can go inside of these buildings, but in reality, it just makes the gameplay shittier. Especially when you have audio and visibility problems to go with the overly complicated map design in some areas. So, definitely curious to see your opinions on this in the comments section. Let me know your experience playing these maps in comparison to previous Battlefield maps. And keep in mind, this video is meant to highlight a specific design problem with the Battlefield 6 maps. There are obviously other design issues with the maps. I just wanted to focus on this one in particular. So, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the sub button, share it. Of course, swing by the streams. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders. The Season 2 wait continues. Who knows when we're going to hear about that. Hopefully it's sooner than later because, well, I'm hearing from people. A lot of people are already getting bored and taking a break from the game. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.